Okay, guys, I'm back. So let's continue this thing since we have momentum. I told you this was an amazing, incredible, magical, fantastical, epic, monumental, phenomenal, and historic story. I told you at the beginning that this story was of me, of my life, of my times, of all that I have amassed and conjured, of all that I'm surrounded by, of the direction that this is all going towards. I told you. I won't lie to you. Okay? I did everything in my power and within my reach to be as explicit as I possibly could with this entire campaign. From the video snippets, to the live testimonials, to the social media links and references. After this is all said and done with, in silence, I'm going to play my 3 unmixed, unfinished, rough tracks, scratches of new song ideas that are going to be on the EP music album debut that garnered all of these legends to work with me. Okay? So you will listen to it. I just haven't felt like it's time yet because we're on such a roll with this, okay? You feel me? All right. So, here we go. All right. David Mays was the last one. Okay, here we are. Remember, we're still on my self-amassed, global diamond-studded web network of the very top and the very inside personnel of the biggest, most historic, notable, reputable, regarded companies of this nation and the world. Okay? So, we're not done yet. We're almost there. Okay. So, at number 26 of this group, don't get that confused with the 18 global, national, local music legends that are my recording team. That was separate. Remember, that was earlier. Okay. So, at number 27, I went and mentioned David Mays. I turned him into 27. So now 28. I will also submit my work to 28. Mr. Clarence Greenwood, the founder and frontman of Citizen Cope. They were originally signed by EMI Capitol Records, again, home of such artists as the Beatles, Duran Duran, Mazzy Star, MC Hammer, and more. And, of course, Nat King Cole. Clarence Greenwood was featured on the one and the only living super legend, icon, and rock god king, Carlos Santana's album titled Shaman, which was the follow-up album after Supernatural. They were then later signed by the one, the only iconic, legendary music mogul, titan, and founder of David Geffen Records INC. That's right. Mr. David Geffen picked them up afterwards. Which explains why Citizen Cope was on the compilation west of Memphis, Voices for Justice. Remember the Henry Rollins story in DuPont Circle? Remember? The Discovery film crew was following Henry Rollins for the documentary 10 Things, which is, the title of the documentary is 10 Things, TENTHINGS, which is a documentary based on the history of our city. Remember I said I walked up to Henry Rollins May of last year, and the Discovery film crew followed us. And I said to Henry that at the time, the drummer of Citizen Cope had agreed to drop drums, play drums to my music. This was before I met. It was linked to James Brown's personal drummer of 15 years, Robert Mousy Thompson. So, you see the connection here. David Geffen signed Citizen Cope. He was going to sign Johnny Depp's band before he became the king of Hollywood, The Kids. And interestingly enough, both Johnny Depp and Citizen Cope are on the compilation West of Memphis Voices for Justice. Okay. So, here are some of the recording artists that Mr. David Geffen of David Geffen Records discovered and signed. Number 1, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain and Company. 2, Hole, Courtney Love and Company. Number 3, John Lennon of the Beatles and his wife Yoko Ono during his solo career outside of the Beatles. 4, Olivia Newton-John. See, here it is. Right. So, in 2013, Citizen Cope was on a compilation, like I already said, titled West of Memphis Voices for Justice, which featured Mr. Jean-Christophe Dieppe, D-I-E-P-P-E, a.k.a. Johnny Depp, the king of Hollywood and the biggest star on earth. Johnny, you know I'd love to meet you, man. You, Zosso, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. Those are my top 3. Also in that compilation was Eddie Vedder, the legendary frontman of the legendary grunge alt-rock band Kings, Pearl Jam, and Henry Rollins, like I mentioned, of the legendary DC-based Black Flag. Okay. Quincy Jones again. I know. Number 31, Rhonda Mendoza, a local dance club promoter who has ties nationwide and whose first cousin has co-produced and on multiple projects with the one and the only, let me just say it, Quincy Jones for HBO television. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Rhonda Mendoza is close friends with my very own personal webmaster and graphic designer who happens to live next to me. How is that? So her cousin was a member of the Grammy board. I think he was a voting member of the Grammys, and he worked on multiple projects with Quincy Jones for HBO television. Yes, the same Quincy that I seem to have all of these direct and indirect links to. It's been about, what, was that 4 of them now? Maybe 5 of them? Crazy, isn't it? It's not crazy. Thriller. I tell you, man. Number 32, Chuck Kwan, the tour manager for the iconic rap global superstar Vanilla Ice. We already went through that, didn't we? Okay, so we don't need to go through that again. We went through Richard Goddard, founder of Sire Records Inc. Again, the man who discovered Madonna, Ice-T, the Ramones, Blondie, the Go-Go's, Godhead, all that stuff. Right? And a dear friend of mine. I referred to this woman as we would in jest say to each other. She referred to me as her Jimmy Page, and I referred to her as my Peter Grant. Peter Grant was the executive producer and manager of Led Zeppelin. Her name is Barbara Ann Farah. She is the editor-in-chief of a premier online magazine titled Music, M-U-S-I-C, Insider, I-N-C-I-D-E-R, Insider as in to drink cider, musicinsider.com. She has covered for quite some time the hard rock, heavy metal, black metal, speed metal, rock scene, and she is based out of Atlanta, Georgia. She is also a world-class rock photojournalist who has photographed and interviewed a list of stars, icons, legends, and big names in the fields of heavy metal, black metal, speed metal, hard rock, and so forth and so on. Okay? So, when I was going through a very challenging and troubling time in 2007, she was there for me every step of the way. And she's one of those that I can never turn my back on ever, you know? I mean, she went out of her way for me on the phone. You know, the amazing thing about Barbara Ann Farah, you know what's the amazing thing? We've known each other for 8 years. She emailed me via MySpace and said that my band was the hottest sounding hard rock band up and down the East Coast, and she wanted to talk to me. Nothing panned out of that, but yet so much did. Can you imagine that I don't even know what she looks like? I've never seen a photo of Barbara Ann Farah. We've only communicated by phone and email messages. Pretty wild, huh? Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Okay, so, now this gentleman right here recently told me that he would not work with me. But another member of the network said, oh man, whatever, man, he'll come around. Just develop everything. And so I will. I'll share him anyway. Number 35, Mr. Pablo Casari, co-owner of PerformanceVideoSystems.com, one of the very top video concert production companies worldwide. Their past clients include, number 1, the Rolling Stones, number 2, Billy Joel, 3, Elton John, 4, Bon Jovi, and 5, his company was handpicked by Sting, formerly of the Police, to follow him, his band, and crew on a 58-nation-state worldwide tour. Did you hear that? Sting of the Police handpicked PerformanceVideoSystems.com to be his video concert production company on a 58-country worldwide tour. I believe the tour spanned for over 2 years. Pretty big. But Pablo has since then changed the title of the business, which I believe is now titled ControlVideoDC.com. I'll have to double check on that one. It's either ControlDCVideo.com or ControlVideoDC.com, but I think it's ControlDCVideo.com. And I want to be random right now because I feel like it. I want to say to the biggest star on planet Earth and the king of Hollywood, I definitely look forward to meeting with you face to face. Mr. Jean-Christophe Dieppe, a.k.a. Johnny Depp. I love you. Along with you, Zosso, and Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. Okay. I just felt like doing that because I do that sometimes. All right. Now that we've cleared the air once more. Number 36, Roderick Hill. Roderick Hill. My direct link to the Nashville, Tennessee country music and rock scene. He is an insider in this music town and scene and is tied to songwriters who have written for such country music superstars, icons, and legends as George Jones, Willie Nelson, Kenny Rogers, and more. Number 37, Saint Anger. Yes, there is a rap artist by the name of Saint Anger. I don't know why. I was just like, Tupac. Right? Saint Anger. Tupac. All right. Tupac, man. I'll tell you, man. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. I didn't learn. The first time I had been turned on to the Notorious B.I.G.'s music was 2 years ago by one of my dearest, truest, bluest, greatest friends of all time. And he said, man, I'm telling you right now, this guy is the greatest. Once you listen to that voice and you hear that beat drop, you're never going to be the same again. I'm telling you right now in advance. I said, nah, man. I said, whatever, man. Psh, get out of here. That's ridiculous. I said, man, I've already heard the greats. I've heard Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and EPMD and, just Ice-T and, come on, man. Seriously? He said, I'm telling you, man. You've never heard, you got to listen to this album. You'll never be the same again. I said, okay, drop it. And the first thing I heard was ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. I'm congested and clogged up right now. I'm congested here and clogged here, but I'll get clear soon. Ba-boom, 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 boom. And I was like, wow, that's got to be one of the most incredible bass lines and beats I've ever heard. And then that voice just out of nowhere just went. And here I am now, tied to all these people, tied to Biggie. And I remember I was in a popular neighborhood of Washington, D.C. called Adams Morgan. Oh, excusez-moi. The District of Columbia, WASH, period. And I remember, I was with a young lady, and we were at a cafe of some sorts called Cashon's on 18th and Columbia Road in downtown D.C. And Fox News Television, WTTG Television, comes up to me. Excuse me, sir. We'd like to ask you, how do you feel about the death of Tupac Shakur? And I'm like, what? I mean, I had heard the name, but I wasn't, for some reason, I wasn't there. I was in another place. I did the hip hop before Tupac and Biggie came out. So by the time Tupac and Biggie came out, I had lost interest in it. And I was all completely rocked out at that time. And just a few weeks ago, you know what I said to myself? I said, I'm always hearing about how great Tupac is, but I've never really, his pentameter, I was like, nah. I was like, he was great, but, I'm not grabbed, And then I decided to play All Eyes on Me. And, wow. And now that I've done more research on him, I can't believe just, he definitely had his, he had his flaws for sure. But he was a remarkable talent and a remarkable man in many, many ways and in his own way. And maybe that's what's the beauty of the Tupacs of the world, because in all of their imperfection, there is that one essential ingredient that is important to so many of us on this planet, and that's called purity. Purity. Right? It's hard to judge someone unless you're them and you've been in their shoes and you go through what they go through. Because everyone has a journey and everyone has a path. And though we all bear similarities as human beings, no one's story is ever the same, you know. And I just wish I had caught on to Big and Tupac a lot earlier, but it's okay. Better late than never. You know, with my luck, geez, I'll run into someone tomorrow that worked with Tupac. So, now Saint Anger. I met Saint Anger a few years ago. At the time, he was a hip-hop artist with ties to the legendary and iconic record label Def Jam Island Records. Number 38, Andrew Dunbar. He was a music director for a past American Idol finalist, and he also worked with, get this one, the iconic and legendary Danny Osmond of the Osmond family. Now, that is my diamond-studded web. My self-amassed global diamond-studded network of the very top and the very inside personnel of the biggest, most historic, notable, reputable, regarded companies of this nation and the world, just like I said. Now to backtrack and cover bases that I did not cover. And at the end of all of this, we will run through my uncut, unmixed, unfinished rough tracks of new song ideas that will get recut, resequenced, mixed, recorded, mixed, mastered, and released. With your donations, following, support, and electronic and grassroots spreading of the word onto the masses of the planet Earth and every nation state from continent to continent and from sea to sea. Let them know of the MUTATIO FORMULAE LLC global media and fundraising campaign that was assembled single-handedly and launched by Jorge Estrada. Okay. As I scroll up here, can you imagine a story so dope that you can read for 3.5 hours without music? I mean, have you ever heard of anything like that? I mean, I should be more bored and exhausted than all of you. But I guess none of us are really that made it this far. I mean, it's just remarkable. Okay, let's backtrack. And there's some stuff, of course, that you're just gonna have to search and navigate through and read on your own. I mean, I can't recite everything here. I mean, it's just like I can, but there's some things that just don't need to be recited. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right. So, first and foremost, allow me to announce at last that I am extremely humbled, grateful, honored, and blessed by all that I have amassed, conjured, and am surrounded by, and am heading towards with your donations, blessings, and support to give me that final push across the finish line. I would also like to add and share that I first began the process of teaching self how to sing and write a song from scratch over 10 plus years ago, and here I am now, even after receiving the 2 big separate offers in regards to my music that I had shared with you guys earlier, from Neil Sheehan of Standby Records INC and Sergio Ontiveros, Smokey Robinson's son-in-law, the owner of Lyricore Ltd. Out of Beverly Hills, California. One being in March of 2008 and the other one in the summer of 2010. I also earlier expressed the following 2 reasons why I did not do it. Now, I ran through the first list, which was my world-class A-plus recording team of international, national, and local legends, musicians who've played with the biggest names you've ever heard of your entire life. Okay, I ran through 18 of them, right? Okay, all right. And there's actually, I forgot, there's some more actually. I forgot there's another gentleman who is tied to, he is roommates with the guitarist of a very and extremely popular underground power pop band called Elf Power. ELF Power. Elf Power. As a matter of fact, those guys played at Dar Constitution Hall here in DC a couple months ago, and it sold out. My friend's link or name to him, I believe, is Davey, and the member of Elf Power is Andrew. But that would be member number 19 of the All-Star recording team. Not to throw you guys off course here. Can you imagine? I'm going to have to be on the phone at least for 4 hours today for Home Fix Corporation that I have a 1099 for from home to follow through with the homeowners I've already spoken with and to call brand new leads. That's later. Let's see here. Okay, I went through a lot of that. I went through that. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Beautiful. So, on Facebook, you can find me under Jorge Estrada. Jorge, first name, last name Estrada. Estrada. Under the city of Arlington and the state of Virginia, Vanilla Ice and I, as I described earlier, with our arms around each other at the power plant in Baltimore, Maryland. Vanilla Ice and I and our arms around each other in my profile picture, and in the background photo on my timeline page is me wearing my Roman noble costume at the historic fountain of DuPont Circle Park in the heart of Upper Northwest, DC, which is where I met the mother of my daughter and where my mom and dad first met. Okay. Now, I would also like to add that in August of 2011, on my MySpace page, I was awarded 7 badges and received over 18,000 likes from all over the world, the youngest being 10 to 12 years old, and the oldest being in their 70s and 80s. One badge out of the 7 awarded was titled the In the Spotlight badge, due to the number of those on MySpace that had viewed my profile picture. The other main badge out of the 7 was titled the Stargazer badge, due to the number of high-profile figures and celebrities that were MySpace friends of MUTATIO FORMULAE. This did not mean that I knew them personally at the time or that I necessarily do now. Again, being a single dad and with a tsunami of history, being an extremely happy, loving single dad, and with the tsunami of history, legend, and greatness that gravitated towards me and stuck to me like a magnet. On top of all this, getting bigger and bigger with each year, I was and have been unable to update my MySpace page, which I will finally have done shortly in coincidence with the very launch of this media and fundraising campaign. So once more, remember that the 4 songs on myspace.com/mutatio formulae are outdated and from the 2008 Mutatio Formulae demo with the former bandmates, at a time when I was not technically the singer that I am now. My ears, my production, and all else is now there, set and ready to go. Again, my MySpace page will be updated in conjunction with this media and fundraising campaign. And finally, as we get to the last kilo, the final step, as we step to the very gate of the kingdom itself, with the sun basking and glowing in the back, waiting to cover and shower us all. I now plan on taking this torch/baton that was handed down to me, with the goal of sharing with the world my most amazing, incredible, and larger than life itself historic journey and story. I have one way of describing all of this metaphorically and literally speaking. The man who made history before achieving any global or national superstardom and success without leaving his home city and birthplace, the District of Columbia, Wash, period. I always had the following aims from the beginning of this quest of mine as we end this. Number 1, to achieve unprecedented history, legend, and greatness. 2, by simply being me at all times and never ever caving in, nor being or becoming a part of all that is not beneficial, that is not true, nor accurate, and which ails the so very many in the society, culture, mind, spirit, and body of this nation state and those linked worldwide. 3, to bring about a fact-driven and fact-based society and culture worldwide. 4, to turn a fact-driven and fact-based global society and culture worldwide into the mainstream and into the very norm of global existence. Interaction, engagement, daily operation, and function on all topics and on all levels and facets of reality of daily life on earth. Number 5, to close the final curtains on the play from this theater of absurdity, which maims the many, and to dissolve and nuclearize this game of a play once and for all. All for one for all, touche. Number 6, to take us all to that next necessary level in order for us to reach that very norm and standard of existence versus the one which is now and should not have been nor should ever be again. Now, number 7, and this is important. Don't get me wrong. Don't read me wrong. These are indeed great, pivotal, monumental and epic times. But we have one more level to reach, and I know that we can all do it. Yes, I am somewhat of a perfectionist. I want to give a shout out to all of you out there who helped me to get to this point. You know who you are, and there are so many of you. Too many to name, but so many to remember and cherish and hold for the rest of my life. But let it be said and known that what you have done for me will not be in vain. I will deliver for my daughter. I will deliver for all of you out there that have done what you've done for me, that have been there for me in your own way. Whether it was by listening, or assisting with a product or service that would perpetuate the motion of this movement in mass consumption. Now, I want to give a big shout out. I mean, this individual has done things for me that not even members of my own family have done, that no friend of mine has ever done, that no fan or follower of mine has ever done. I'm just keeping it real. This person went above and beyond the call of duty to ensure that that we both hit the ceiling in profit. She believed in me. She believes in me, and I am humbled and honored and blessed and privileged and grateful to have her as a friend, and to have her, she willfully but carefully and strategically and meticulously and with good thought and consideration and time decided to step up to the plate as my angel investor. That's exactly how it happened. So, I know that. But, it was because of this young lady that I was able to acquire and obtain my 2-bedroom apartment, the one with the massive balcony and the massive windows. And as I stare right now at all of the monuments, from the Statue of Freedom right now as I speak to the Capitolio Domus, I believe the very Olympic torch that sits on top of the Folger Library, along with the replica of the Acropolis that banks to the left of the Potomac River, and the bridge that runs through with the 2 statues of lions coated in gold or bronze. This is where I'm at now. And this living space is for my daughter and I. We need to have a roof over our head, just like everyone else. We need to have, got to have food in the refrigerator. Kids got to educate, eat, foster, prosper, learn, grow. And this young lady, when she heard what was happening around me, when she learned that this was all in fact true, she couldn't believe it. It was just so over the top, so much to digest, so phenomenal that, most people are going to be, you're going to have skepticism. It's too incredible, So, but she enabled me through her investment to establish and form MUTATIO FORMULAE LLC. Through her investment, she enabled me to acquire and obtain this magnificent living space on a 1-year sublease, which serves not only as the living space for my daughter and I, but also as my HQ operational center for MUTATIO FORMULAE LLC for the completion of this treatise, the completion of this music album debut EP, to get the production and direction of the documentary to be based on me by Rachel Dunn, who I'm saving for last. So that's where it's at, you know. And because of this space, I was able to assemble this campaign and form the LLC and collectively gather all my rates from these top-notch affiliates of LegalZoom.com, from 1-800-Accounting to Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corporation to Web.com to License123.com. LegalZoom, great stuff. I mean, what you get for the amount you invest is unmatched. And all of their affiliates are top-notch. So that will be included in the budget. We were able to cover the first 8 months of this lease, but we need to cover the last 4. And that first payment is due the 1st of March. I also need to cover all of the assets related to MFLLC, along with what will eventually become the official MFLLC website, the official MFLLC Facebook page, the official MFLLC merchandise that will be on my shopping cart on my website. I will have brackets for diamond givers, platinum givers, gold givers, silver givers, and bronze givers. There will be rewards and bonuses and incentives. It's one of the last that I have to complete. I've produced a budget based on all of these rates that's pretty close to the decimal point. Not saying that I'm 100% accurate, but it's about as close as I can possibly hope to be. So we're looking at, so far, 66,500. I do need to list that as well. I need to run through the budget, which I will. I will do that. I will do that at the end of everything. And we'll probably do that on the next video. I'll just do a budget video, which will be part 3. That should be about 5 or 10 minutes max to run through. And with that said, I mean, this made all of this possible, and now, I've managed to put my resume together. It looks better than ever. I've already had some companies reach me through Indeed.com and to my Comcast Xfinity inbox. So in coinciding with this campaign and these projects, I'm looking for full-time work, and I want to cover my assets, my overhead. I want to cover the rest of this lease. I want to go ahead and cover Rachel Wen Dunn. W-Y-N is her middle name, Dunn, RachelDunn.com. Again, she has agreed to produce and direct a documentary based on me. She won the 2005 International Sci-Fi and Horror Film Festival Award for Best Cinematographer of the Year for Stephen King's Gotham Cafe. She's worked with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger on several of their films and is considered a pioneer by a long rack of A-list Hollywood film producers for her visual effects design and supervision on movies that she's worked on, such as Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, Fight Club, starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton Jr., several of the X-Men movies, and 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and many, many more. She's agreed to produce a documentary based on me, along with a 3-minute sizzle reel to promo. She's asking for a $15,000 advance to get the production and direction going, and $30,000 overall. What else can I say? But I'll run through that again when I go through the budget. Okay? So as we end this finally, after nearly 4 hours, I just want to say that the woman that made this all possible, through her benevolence and charity and wisdom and insight and meticulous and strategic nature, exactly, is Amy Elizabeth Angelo. That's right. Okay? All right. So, several members of my legion of blah, 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 and of my diamond-studded network of blah, blah, blah have met her already. So, she met Bob Marley's guitar player, James Brown's drummer. She met Natalie Cole's former keyboard player. She met Quincy Jones' former bassist. And she met the notorious B.I.G.'s former producer. It's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. And she just met me 6 months ago. That's not bad. Okay. Now, the best for the last. This goes out to the one that's most important in my life and who will forever reign supreme in my kingdom. And that, of course, would naturally be my incredible and most amazing daughter. I wanted and have already and will continue to leave behind and cement a foundation and legacy for my daughter, for Amy Elizabeth Angelo, and the entire world. For all of my past, hardcore, loyal fans, followers, and supporters, to my close friends and inner circle, to my would-be new donors and followers and supporters and fans worldwide. All together now. My eternal legacy and foundation to my daughter, who reigns supreme above all else in my kingdom. To Amy, to the rest of the world, will be my gargantuan reminder of all that is and will always be. And of all that never was, that never should have been, that never will be, and never should be again. And of all that is worthwhile and beneficial and true and noble and accurate in life, versus all of it that is not. This eternal legacy and foundation of mine also includes an overdue and much needed overhaul and revamping of the global mindset, spirit, body, and practice and energy, actions, decisions, interactions, engagements, the dissemination, deliverance, teachings, promotions, representations, narrations, and depictions of factual / historic / and reality-based knowledge and information, along with methods, tools, and the use of mediums and practices, all of which have been and are not sustainable nor functional, practical, sane, clear, honest, good, wise, right, just, real, noble, factual, or beneficial for any and all of us on our most beloved and amazing planet Earth. There we go. Okay. See what else we have left here. Video snippets, social media links and references. My plan there is once I post the video snippets on my GoFundMe.com page, I will then attach each social media link and reference to the right video snippet with live testimony. Okay. I guess that's it. But I did forget to mention, I somehow bypassed a few. So we're almost there, but not quite. We're at the 95% mark. Okay. Let's go down here and double check. Alright, went through that. That's pretty much it. Let's go back, take it to the top. Okay, it's not that. Alright. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Wow. I remember reciting all this. Okay. I forgot to mention this part. I want to throw this in. So this is a little out of order, meaning it's not in sequential order. But I like the way it was written because I wrote all of this and put all of it together. Okay. Again, with all that I just said, I would like to mention that I do in fact find these times to be most exciting, pivotal, historic, monumental, and stupendous. Again, I would like to mention to you all that I do in fact find these times to be most exciting, pivotal, historic, monumental, and stupendous. So with that said, let me remind you that I would love to see us pull out the last of the unwanted and dying rotten weeds of inferior and unnecessary dishonesty. That I would like to see us close the final curtains on this theater of absurdity, which ails and maims the so very many of this nation and its allies under the guise of their mutual, societal, cultural, and psycho not sane or rational practices, along with the rest of the world. Most of all, to dissolve and nuclearize this unnecessary and undue psychotica, and again inferiority of the mind, spirit, body, and most of all energy. As I said before, and I will say again, once and for all, one for all, and all for one. Touche. Allow me to remind you of the 3 mega game-ending, game-dissolving projects that your donations following and support will assist in manifesting into byproducts and services that we can share with the world. My EP music album debut of hard rock meets pop, with every other genre that we have all loved and continue to love in between the hard rock and pop, meaning other genres in between, such as soul, funk, jazz, Motown, hip-hop, glam, indie / alternative rock / pop, new wave, folk, psychedelia, classical, baroque, medieval, club / dance, choral / hymnal, music of the church, lounge, soundtrack, electronic, and more. B. My non-fictional writing book debut, The Treatise of Our Times and of Time Itself on Earth. C. The documentary to be based on me, to be directed and produced once again by Rachel Wen Dunn. Rachel, Rachel Wen, Wyn, middle name, last name, Dunn. And again, her website is racheldunn.com. Yes. She won the 2005 International Sci-Fi and Horror Film Festival Award for the third time, for Best Cinematographer of the Year, for legendary horror writer Stephen King's film titled Gotham Cafe. She's also worked on several films for super Hollywood titans Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and is hailed as a pioneer and visionary by a long rack of A-list Hollywood film producers for her visual effects design and supervision on such A-list Hollywood major motion picture films such as number 1, Titanic, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, 2, Fight Club, 3, several of the X-Men movies, 4, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. For the last time, not to drive you crazy or annoy or irritate you, her website is racheldunn.com. Remember, Derek Ward of NBC4 News, WRC Television, Washington, D.C., has agreed to do a feature cover story on me. Remember that KristenHorgan.com of the DC-based publication TAGG Publication will document all of the recording sessions with my legion of global, national, and locally based music legends. Okay? So she will document it through her camera in the form of photography. All right? And then there's, of course, my global diamond-studded network of the very top and the very inside worldwide, along with my legion of legends, pioneers, stars, and visionaries who have worked with me and still work with and are tied to many of the most famous legends, icons, superstars, pioneers, and visionaries of our time and from the annals of modern history. Now, so now we're down to 2 individuals. After that, I will play my music. We will cap it there. And then I will piece together a third video that will simply outline the budget. And in terms of what's on my GoFundMe page now in regards to text, I still need to go through that and get that all straightened out. But it looks pretty good so far. Okay? All right, guys. I made mention on multiple occasions the name Bliss Ananda, Mr. Charles Tolbert, a.k.a. Bliss Ananda. I told you that he was Natalie Cole's former keyboard player. He toured the world twice with her. This man has worked with the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, and an incredibly long list of legends, icons, and superstars in modern music history, from Erykah Badu to Busta Rhymes to Midnight Star, Cameo, Cage the Elephant, Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, this guy's just done it all. I've met several of the legends within my all-star recording team through him, and he has agreed to produce and co-produce my album. Okay? So he assembled a 140-piece orchestra, to my understanding, at the National Institute of Health. And I don't know if this is in fact the case now, but he was, I believe, at one point the lead conductor. The man is a genius. He is supremely elegant and graceful and noble, wise, talented, skilled, brilliant, and powerful. And I am just so humbled and privileged and blessed to have Bliss Ananda by my side. Again, his website is blissananda.com, BLISSANADA.com. He plays piano, electric violin, he sings. He's also a sound engineer and a recording studio producer. There you go. Now, there was one other gentleman that's come along, that's flown into the MUTATIO FORMULAE intergalactic planetary world bridger of a web. Okay? So, at the end of this, okay. So, two more things here. So I'm excited about working with Bliss and having Bliss take me over to this recording studio that belongs to the legendary Ignatius Mason, who is now the singer of Heatwave, which features Rod Temperton, who wrote Thriller and named the album Thriller for Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones, and who wrote Off the Wall for the Off the Wall album and the song Rock With You. He also wrote the classic Sentinel single Always and Forever and Boogie Nights by Heatwave. Now, there is also a gentleman who is a super legendary R&B hip-hop producer. This man was responsible for the greatest tracks laid down by the notorious B.I.G. on his debut Sentinel hip-hop royal album, Ready to Die. This same gentleman said to me on the 10th anniversary, which was this past 23rd of August 2014 at Flanagan's Harp and Fiddle in Bethesda, Maryland. This same man said to me that he was ready and willing to meet with me and have a one-on-one consultation in regards to my music and direction. This same super legendary producer produced both of Faith Evans' first two albums, along with Mary J. Blige's Sentinel album, and I think one of her highest-selling albums of all time, It's My Life. He wrote the song One Mic for the legendary Nas, the rapper, and he's worked with so many more legends. I believe he is in fact a Grammy nominee, and he is behind the magical production of songs that have gone number one and sold millions and millions of copies. What an honor it will be to meet with him and his business partner and current bandmate. And last but not least, I met another gentleman. Now, the last producer that I was speaking of is Chucky Thompson. That's who. Chucky Thompson. I so look forward to sitting down and having a personal one-on-one consultation with Mr. Chucky Thompson. And I believe that he may still be affiliated with Bad Boy Records and Entertainment. And P. Diddy. I guess time will tell. And there was one other co-producer that jumped on board. He already said that he would be willing and would very much like to work with me. Right. So let me tell you about this gentleman. I did not ask if I could use his name on this campaign. But he owns a company called Magna Carta LLC. It is an entertainment company. He recently wrapped up work with platinum-selling artist and Grammy-nominated rapper J. Cole. He is linked to the manager of 3-6 Mafia. 3-6 Mafia is the multi-platinum, Grammy-winning, and I believe Oscar-winning rap group that won for their score on the Oscar-winning film Hustle and Flow, which starred just the incomparable and amazing Terrence Howard. Oh, that's right. I forgot that I recently met a young man who was featured on a song with Project Pat of 3-6 Mafia. And this artist goes by the name of Free the Man and likes to be referred to as Free. So I will give him a call. But back to the owner of Magna Carta LLC. This same gentleman is close friends with Missy Elliott. Yes. The 30 million copies sold, Grammy Award winning rap artist and song producer who has produced the Queen of Pop, Madonna, the Queen Diva herself, the incomparable Whitney Houston. I believe she's also worked with, who else did she work with? Madonna, Whitney Houston, and I believe Janet Jackson. And she recently, as a matter of fact, because I was on the phone with him a week and a half ago, and he told me that Missy Elliott recently wrapped up co-producing an album with Faith Evans, the multi-platinum Grammy-nominated R&B diva who is the ex-wife of the notorious B.I.G., the king of rap, and who is the mother of their only son, Christopher Wallace Jr. So Missy Elliott just recently wrapped up some co-production work on the latest album to be put out by Faith Evans herself. I would love to meet Faye. That would be amazing. So, this same guy that owns Magna Carta also is very close friends with a world-class renowned studio recording musician by the name of, I believe it's Demi Dot. And Demi Dot did a lot of the songwriting production work in the studio for both Ashanti and Ja Rule for their record label Murder Inc. Records. Murder INC Records. I know, not the greatest title for a record label, but that's got nothing to do with me. So, in case anyone tries to foster up whatever, people are so crazy and weird nowadays. You don't know what they're going to try to spin, twist, reverse, and saute upside down. You just don't know anymore. So, but with that said, he made mention to me recently of doing some studio work on a song for a series that's to be aired eventually and soon on HBO television. I will in fact get in contact with this gentleman. We're both dads, and he's a great guy. So, I think that's pretty much it, man. I think that covers all of it. It's unfrickin' believable. And on that note, I will play 3 of my uncut, unmixed, unfinished Foundations new song ideas that will eventually be fully complete mastered songs through your donations, following, and support for and a part of my music album EP debut. And even perhaps one of these rough tracks will turn into the first fully mastered and ready release single, if we go with the single first. Okay? So I'm going to play 3 of them. Again, in 2009 to 2011, these tracks were originally recorded by Danny Demetro, formerly the songwriting force of No Trend, which is and was an underground DC-based art punk band of legendary cult status from 1986 to 1989. They released an album that was highly acclaimed in the underground art punk rock scene called A Dozen Dead Roses. At the time, their band manager was Mr. Steve Blush, the same gentleman who produced and directed the documentary titled American Hardcore, A Tribal History. Now, after Danny Demetrio, then from 2012 to 2013, those tracks, with the assistance of Matt Fleming and I went to Danny Demetrio's recording studio, and we took what was mine, and then I passed it on to the Emmy Award-winning front cameraman of The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer on CNN television, who owns and runs his own independent record label out of the nation's capital and has his own personal sound engineer. His sound engineer went ahead and performed a basic recording studio cleanup of these three, I'm just going to share three for now, of these three uncut, unsequenced, unmixed, soon to be cut, sequenced, mixed, recorded, and mastered songs with vocals and additional instrumentation laid down by all the members of my Sentinel Legion of global, national, and local music legends, who again have worked with the very top, who have worked with, continue to work with, and are still directly tied to many of the most famous and well-known icons, superstars, legends, pioneers, and visionaries of our time and from the annals of modern history, period. Okay? So I'm going to play three tracks and understand that now the next step is to hand these same tracks of mine, song ideas of mine, to Simon Furstenberg, who is my direct link to Dan Wilson. Dan Wilson wrote the 2012 Grammy Song of the Year, Rolling in the Deep, for Adele, and he also wrote the #1 smash hit single, Someone Like You, for Adele. And Dan Wilson has worked with Pink and was with Semisonic and is responsible for that song, Closing Time. Simon Furstenberg is also my direct link to one of the more recent drummers for the Mozart of our time, Prince. So next, I meet with Simon in a day or two, and he will take my info and recut and resequence the tracks as I want them in terms of the arrangement of the actual compositions, so that I can then take that to Bliss Ananda, my super legendary co-producer, and then we can go and get that mixed the way it should be mixed. Then we can bring each and every member of my Sentinel Legion of music legends in one by one by one and take it from there. And of course, we would share everything with you guys along the way. Okay? So I'm going to play those three tracks. And then after that, on a separate video, which should be about 5 to 7 minutes max, I will run through specifically chronicling and detailing what the 66,500 to 67,000 of the minimum required amount of the foreseeable minimal required fundraising amount to make everything that needs to happen for Mutatio Formulae LLC happen. For my daughter, for the world, for Amy, Elizabeth, Angelo, and everyone else that's been there for me. Okay? So, on that note, this is Jorge Estrada. Again, I am Jorge Estrada. I am the president, founder, mastermind, visionary, and forefather of Mutatio Formulae LLC. this is my MUTATIO FORMULAE LLC Global Media and Fundraising Campaign. It's finally wrapped up today on Columbus Day. Okay? All right, so let me go ahead. Now, I have another laptop adjacent to this laptop. It's right next to it. So I'm reading off this laptop, but looking at this laptop. And the speakers I have hooked up into this laptop, which has my music on my desktop. I mean, it sounds great on my side, but when I play back these videos off of this laptop, they don't sound so hot. So I'm going to go ahead and crank it. Again, unfinished, unmixed, uncut, unsequenced, new song ideas that will eventually manifest into what will be the songs of the MUTATIO FORMULAE EP debut. After these songs go off, I go off, and I'm going to take a break. I've been on video. I've been on this microphone for 4 hours and 16 minutes now straight. Okay? Okay. I wouldn't advise most people to do this. You might inflame, or your vocal cords may get sore, or if you don't. It's just as important to technically speak so that you don't affect your throat on par with what you would do if you were singing. Okay? All right. So, all right, guys. All right. One love now. All right? Okay, so let me go ahead and play some of this stuff, all right? So don't expect, like, oh, my God. It's not going to sound like that yet. It will. Okay, so let's play some of this. So that was the first song. Uncut. It's not even cut, not even sequenced, not even mixed or equalized. It's rough, it's raw, it's rugged, it's unfinished. But that's one of the tracks that gravitated all of these stars. Here, let me turn it off. It's one of the songs that gravitated all of these stars towards me. So I'm excited because I'm going to be working with the best in the world who've worked with the biggest names ever. And it should be fascinating to see where this goes. Now, let's see here. Now, I'm trying to decide whether I want to play the Danny Demetro version or the version that was cleaned up by Wolf Blitzer's front cameraman from the Situation Room on CNN television, which you can watch Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Just remember, every time you see Wolf Blitzer staring at you, reporting the news of the world from the Situation Room at the CNN building, I want you to understand that the man that cleaned up my tracks and didn't charge me a single penny, who I'm forever indebted to, it's his camera that you're looking through. Got it? Okay, here we go. Now, what's next here? I'm trying to decide. I know which song I'm going to play next, but I want to see if I'm going to play. Okay, I'll play Demetro's version of this one here. Okay. This is the second one. I just want to try on these shades. Don't think I'm being cheesy, guys. I just feel like doing it. You know what I'm saying? Is that okay? All right. Okay, so that was the second track. Okay? Again, these songs are not mixed. They are not recut or resequenced yet. No members of the Sentinel Legion of global, national, and local music legends have even jumped in yet. So, that's the next step. To get them recut and resequenced by Simon Furstenberg. Then for Blissananda and I to mix it down the way it should be. And then to bring all of these music legendary stars into the picture. You got me? All right. Now, here comes the last song. Okay? And I like where this is all going. You know, I would have played the music earlier, but I think it was meant to be this way because it just seems to be so congruent and fluid and organic and just its momentum personified. So, despite the fact it's been 4.5 hours, here we go. Here is the last track of the 3. I have more, but for now, of the 3. These are the rough cut ideas that will eventually morph into full-fledged songs for the EP music album debut. Once again, with your pledge, your pledges, donations, support, your following, your love, and any blessings, okay? All right, here we go. Let's see here. Here, I'm going to play, that was the Danny Demetro version of that piece. I am going to play the Wolf Blitzer's front cameraman version of this one here. Let's see here. Okay. All right, guys. Here we go. Wow, it sounds better, doesn't it? It does. There you go. But you know, I just remembered something. I just remembered something. I remembered why I would always play the Danny Demetrio version of the Danny Demetrio recording of that track. Because of the ending. Because Wolf Blitzer's front cameraman's personal sound engineer, they removed this last piece of that puzzle, and I didn't want that removed. No offense taken. Stuff happens. So I'm going to go through that track again, but I'm going to play the Danny Demetrio version, and then we'll be done with this. Okay? All right, here. I forgot about that. Sorry to do this to you guys. Encore. This is Jorge Estrada, president, owner, founder, visionary, pioneer, and forefather of MUTATIO FORMULAE LLC, coming live at you from the nation's capital, the District of Columbia. Is everyone ready? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's make this possible. Let's make this possible. From the documentary to the treatise of our times and of time itself on earth, to the MUTATIO FORMULAE EP music album debut with the biggest in the world. Let's do this, everyone. I want to thank everyone, and I mean everyone out there. And as I said before, and I'll say again, this will not be in vain. MUTATIO FORMULAE, LLC. Global media and fundraising campaign. Assembled, launched, organized, and masterminded by me, Jorge Estrada. Peace.